Hello, hello. Can anybody hear me out there? Looks like I'm about 4 minutes late. I had a little live YouTube dad thing to attend to. Um, let's see here. I'll pull this guy on here. How's everybody doing today? What is up, wildcard creatures? Thanks for joining us. Hey, now we got some folks coming on. All right. How's everybody doing? Hey, Dave. Good to see you here, man. This will be fun. Kind of a good question for you yourself. New Mexico Royals, Alicia Bravo, Aaron, Robert. Okay, now we're starting to roll. Hey, you know how nobody ever watches live feeds? I mean, you watch the views on one of our good videos and we get like 2,000 views. What's up, Arctic? Or, you know, we get 10,000 views or 50,000 views if it's a question like, how big does my super dwarf get? Hello, Sacramento. Hello from Pittsburgh. Nobody watches live, so I'm going to actually give you guys a little sneak peek for tuning in here. We're just going to do it right at the beginning because half of you guys aren't going to watch till the end anyways. But we did a rebrand here. I have a new logo, and we haven't even released the video deciding what logo we're going to be yet. So shh, don't tell anybody. Nobody tell, but I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. Do you want a sneak peek? What do you guys think? What's up, SoCal Herps? I know. Nobody likes to rebrand, and if I just give you a sneak peek right now, everyone's gonna say, "Ew, I hate it. I liked your old logo." Guess what? I liked my logo too. But here we'll just do this, and then stay tuned for the whole. I got a whole rebrand video. So for those of you who want to start a business, you want to think about branding logos and how to use them. I don't know. You guys see all these boxes behind me? That's all new swag with new logo stuff, old logo stuff, really cool. You know, just little things we'll have for Tinley. I like this one. There's a new item there. What do you guys think? A little Reach Out Reptiles flag. But so yeah, there's the old logo for those of you guys that see it. Because nobody watches live anyway, I don't think we'll spoil the surprise for too many people because we're launching live at Tinley. But here's the new logo. Dun, dun, dun. What's my business? It's none of your business. That's what it is. Scales and more. Just kidding. My business is producing the world's finest dwarf and super dwarf reticulated pythons. All right. So let's get started with the issue at hand. We have had, thank you guys, thank you. We'll talk more about it. I'm actually pretty excited about it for a whole lot of reasons. And I think once you watch the real video about it, you'll get to see some stuff. Southwest Carpet Fest, that's a good idea. Pack a carry on. Once I really get going, you'll be able to see why we did what we did and everything. But we actually had that professionally done and everything. And so some of these decisions are things that I'd like to share with you. But today's video, now that we have you guys on here, is actually about what we're going to do. See a little one hiding there. I figured I'd just give you a sneak peek because it's like laying around everywhere here. Today's video is what do we do with the next 5 years? So, raise your hand if you actually saw the video where we hatched the first Karompas. You know what I mean? Hi, delayed notifications. What's up? It's okay. We're just getting started anyway. It's cleaning day. Don't mind the poopy cages, but here's Karompa Mama with a big old meal from the first babies that hatched. So if you guys saw them, yeah, there we go. A lot of people saw those. This was like ridiculously exciting and the culmination of many years of hard work and planning and. But check this little cute guy out. I mean, you guys see how tiny that is? Look at him all cute and hatched in post-shed. Come here, buddy. Come here, little dude. See if we can get some better lighting on you so everyone can say hi. By the way, guys, if it's a little messier in here than usual, blame Aiden. He's got broken pelvis, so I'm actually going to be pulling a late shift to get everybody cleaned and watered today before the weekend. But look at that baby Karompa. He's so cute. The lighting's super harsh and weird on there. I don't know why that's doing that. Sometimes my window light works a little better. Nope, it doesn't. Anyway, he's a really tiny snake. They're pretty dang cute. But we did, oh yeah, for those of you, thank you, Blue Devil, for bringing that up. We got Aiden donated a room at the hotel. They're going to hook him up. The hotel said they're going to do the best they can to accommodate him with kind of his, new handicap there for the weekend. And then we actually had people, if anyone wanted to donate to help his weekend, we just had people sending a PayPal to the company account, which is Garrett, Garrett, at reachoutreptiles.com. And I'll just tell you right now, as soon as we said that we're trying to get Aiden to Tinley, we get him a room. Somebody donated the reservation, and then we had other people offer to, pitch in some money to help cover the cost. So the room is fully funded. So obviously there's other trip expenses with going to Tinley, but I'm going to just treat him like a working employee while we're there anyway. So I'm going to cover a lot of those regardless. And anything that he has that's extra, he's going to actually use to throw down at the US ARC auction anyway. So if you guys donate a little bit extra or something like that and it doesn't go towards getting him there, he's gonna just donate it right back at US ARC. So that was really awesome. Thank you for you guys on that. But if you watch the Karompa video and you run forward to the end of it, you'll notice that I said something. Yeah, the Jamps are coming out. We're not going to show you those yet, but cool your jets there, Theron. They look fantastic. We got a lot of unshed babies around here, and it's just kind of worthless to show them unshed. So we got a whole bunch of, these are all new babies, everything with the tag over here. So some of these shed, but lots of super dwarf stuff, lots of fun stuff. So if you are on waiting list, start watching your email. This year for 2020, either us breeding them here like the Karompas, and we've got our second. Can you see me now? Anybody over there see me? Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why that froze. Can you guys see me? Good. Okay, perfect. Thank you. I guess the phone doesn't like being stuffed in the incubator. But right next to the second Karompa clutch, we have a clutch of Selayers. We just hatched Jampeas. If anyone's counting, that's 3 localities. We have, we should check. I haven't checked her since lunchtime. We have a pure Kalatoa due to lay any minute. Oh my gosh, look at that. Ha ha! Discovering Karompa eggs live. That is crazy. How funny is that? I'm like, we should check her. I haven't checked her since lunch, and she laid. That's amazing. Matt Bernardin, if you're there, hello, anybody here? This female was sent over here by Matt Bernardin of SoCal Herps. Those are your eggs, bro. Forrest Fanning, if you're watching, that was your male, dude. So anyway, that's a perfect example of the community effort that it has taken. Why do I think people decide to quit breeding? There's all kinds of reasons to fail. There's only a few reasons to succeed. But that's a community effort. So I was just going to say we have gravid pure Karompa or Kalatoas. That's 4. And then we've got Kayuadis incubating. I missed on the Madus. I'll show you Madu mom anyway. But this is another locality. There's a sexy Madu mom. You can see that big wide buckskin back pattern. Makes them a little bit different. But we have 7 localities. That's all that's available in the U.S. with Dwarf and Super Dwarf. We produced 5 this year. I don't know of anyone that's done that. And again, whether it was us producing them or breeding loan stuff or some hatched here, like the Jampeas actually hatched at John Cashman's house, my male to his female. Some of this stuff is really rare. I mean, Jamps haven't been produced in 10 years. Kalatoas get produced every year, but they're freaking hard, man. I have like a 10% success rate with the number of clutches that I try on those guys. So that's really exciting. And this will have to be a short live feed because I'm too excited to pull those eggs. But, when we did all this kind of stuff, we literally, I don't think I need the cool branded glasses. These are my like blue screen computer glasses because who knew being a reptile breeder like me, chasing something low tech and nature related means you're going to be on your screen all day long. But we produced 5 out of the 7 in 1 year. I don't know of anyone that, and this isn't bragging, this is like, I just feel really humbled about this and blessed, but I don't know anyone that's produced 5 pure localities ever. You see a big thing, like it's a big accomplishment when people produce, like if they say, for example, pure Jampeanus, Well, that Jampeanus subspecies encircles a giant region, and most people, even when they say Jampeanus, they're saying it because they don't know if it's a Kalatoa for sure. They don't know if it's a Madu for sure, or whatever the case may be. Oh, here's a good example. I'll show you a different one that's a little smaller. A lot of people don't have locality data on their stuff. We don't use those kinds of animals in our pure locality projects. So these guys were imported with locality data, and we know what they are, or we don't do it. So this is an animal that was not produced here, but we do bring in bloodlines from other stuff. Beautiful stripe, super dwarf, but you can tell just by looking at it, that does not look like a pure Kalatoa. Now this was sold to me as a pure Kalatoa. And, you know, I wanted it because I'm familiar with both bloodlines that produce this animal. I actually believe this to be a Kayuadi Kalatoa cross, which is a lot of what we're seeing out there these days. But I like that nice stripe. I think the animal is beautiful. And the pure Jampeanus certainly have their place, especially when it comes to selectively breeding small bloodlines. You know what I mean? You want to shrink something down, you breed it to an animal like that. That's a female. An animal like that, I would never breed into my pure Kalatoa bloodlines because I don't want to muddy the waters with something so close. We try to keep them pure, but they're fantastic, guilt-free way for me to breed them into morphs, because when you make a morph, you know, you're basically making a mutt, and we want to make, you know, if we're making a mutt, we want people to know it's a mutt. We want it labeled as a mutt. We don't try to pass things off as being pure something one way or another just because we didn't have the locality data on them. So the locality stuff for me is very sacred. And the thing about subspecies, it's great to breed a pure subspecies, but you know, like coastal carpet pythons and jungle carpet pythons are in the same subspecies. You know, so you can breed pure that subspecies, but holy smokes, hey, thanks Arctic, right on, man. Cheers. Breeding something pure subspecies, if you say, hey, look, I bred my pure known bloodline jungle carpet python to a carpet python, Morelia pythons community is going to kill you. I think we're actually going to be talking about that over on NPR. So, hey, Morph Mixology, what's up, man? Slayers, yeah. We actually just had our second clutch of Slayers laid. So, again, back to my point. So, we have had tremendous success last year and this year, and part of it is because, you know, in 2020 Reach Out Reptiles turns 5 years old. So we founded in 2015. I've had a ton of stuff. What's up, Canada? Yeah, we need to get this stuff going. KB Reptiles, I've been talking about doing an export to Canada this year, so stay tuned for that if you guys are Canadian fans and have been itching to get your hands on some exported stuff, and they'll be nice. So again, another example of onward and upward, but basically 5 years ago, I got rid of a lot of the other animals I had. So those of you who've seen Forrest Fanning, his giant blood python, she was one of the ones that went. David Means has been having a lot of success with scrub pythons over there. A lot of those were mine. I just had a bunch of cool random species. If you scroll back on Facebook, you'll see a bunch of the other weird stuff that I worked with. But I decided from a business standpoint, I know UK, we're working on that too. I need a solid person on that side of the pond that I can work with, and that's the only way to make that stuff happen. What's up, James? Aiden is doing pretty good. He's in good spirits, but he's wrecked. He has not been back to work, you know, and so we're kind of stranded over here without him. So, but the community's pulled together really well for him. So thank you for asking. Anyway, when we did that 5 years ago, if you think about this, you know, when you play chess, you want to make one move and then you want to make another move, right? You want to think a couple steps ahead. With the Dwarf and Super Dwarf Retics, I say all this kind of stuff all the time. You know, it can take 5 years for, especially like a little girl. Like if you look at some of these adults, these are the wild-caught adults that actually belong to Zoo Dreams, Forrest Fanning, and they look huge and pregnant, but they actually just all ate the other day. That's why they're so messy. We always feed a day before we clean, let them get all their farts out and then clean. But those are the wild-caughts. Animals of those smaller bloodlines, which is really what we're trying to push very hard for, take many years to grow up. So after 5 years, like all those females that we kind of planned to have initially are coming online. And the first few years of breedings we had, we intentionally held a lot of stuff back. So you're going to see a lot of animals like this type of animal. Don't bite me, please, baby. Coming online here very soon in the next year or so. Yeah, look at these giant meals over here. But these are, you know, there's only a handful of super dwarf mochinos in the world. This is now a nearly fully grown young subadult female. So she's 3 years old. Maybe in her 4th year we'll try and breed, and then we'll be able to make some stuff like super dwarf mochinos available. And that's the secret of the 5-year plan. So my plan was to really take a lot of the genetics that I had that I liked, things like Motley, Golden Child, Tiger, Platinum, Phantom, a lot of those incomplete dominant genes, and shrink them down. And a lot of it was to introduce albino and anery to get a long-lasting double recessive. You know, the snow stuff has been one of the best lasting investments that anyone could have made. Yeah, you like that? She's pretty nice. That was actually a Sun Tiger Mochino. The Tiger Mochino might be better. What's up, James? I know I need to do it. If you guys are watching and you're in UK and you want to help me out, you know, I just need to hear from people who I can work with. But that's the Tiger Mochino. A lot more contrast on her. So some of those things will be really cool. Those are all possible het snows. So I'd love to see anery versions of those. Yeah, I know, 7-foot tigers. That's a great idea. And they do exist, contrary to popular belief. You can certainly get that kind of stuff. So it was to shrink the morphs down that I had. And then because of just the alarming thing I saw where people are so willing to blend localities, or, you know, a lot of people would have, like the Karompa is a perfect example. I own the male, Josh Rare owned one female, and then Aaron Metcalf owned another female, which he didn't actually own her at the time, but he does now. It's taken a team effort to bring those 3 animals sitting right here behind the camera right now. Those 3 Karompas represented 60% of the population of them here in the US. And they were just sitting there. They, you know, no, nothing like that. And, you know, traditionally people hold on to that stuff because they're valuable. So I was able to kind of convince everybody to work with me, put the effort in and everything to get myself a male, track down the legitimate ones, and try to preserve that stuff before it's gone. And that's how we got what we got. So I mean, literally, we're at the end of my 5-year plan. I've been, I think, very successful. Not everything has gone through, but I'm extremely happy. Mochino Karompa, that would be pretty epic. Karompa needs to become established more before it can be blown into everything. But those little males might do it. You know, I'm not as opposed to using a male to other females. So get a hold of the other Karompas for breeding. You know, Sal and Nick own those. Sal Daddy Exotics, or Sal Daddy Retics. I forget what it is, but Sal Valeda owns the other pair. And we've talked about it. Cow SD, literally eggs were already laid. They're incubating. So the world's first super dwarf cows. And, you know, you got to realize, like, I think I piss a lot of people off when I say super dwarf cows don't exist right now, because there's people who have bought animals labeled as super dwarf cows. But when I say it, I mean according to the industry standards of they have to be 50% super dwarf locality or above. So no one's made them that high percentage yet. We may have the first super dwarf cows this year. Working towards multi-hets to bolster the variety in a given clutch. That's a great idea. That's actually what I do with the snow stuff. So like one of the clutches that I have due to hatch at the end of the month is a perfect example of that. It's Golden Child. Some industry standards aren't, and we can work to improve them. You know, our connection with Freedom Breeders is a concerted effort to improve industry standards on how these guys are kept. But basically, hey, James, what's up, Tipton? Good to see you. You know, working towards those things, like over the past 5 years, we've finished that. The clutch I was mentioning in the incubator is like Golden Child double het snow to a Motley Tiger double het snow. So you get Motley Tigers, people love those. Motley Golden Childs, people love those. You guys, a lot of you guys really like anery Motley Tigers, specifically because of one animal that was sold to G.I. Joe. The import ban removed. That would be nice, but at the same time, these are small localities. I'm kind of okay with leaving them where they're at in the wild at this point, especially because they do exist in captivity. It's just that, and you can buy them. I mean, literally, we have waiting lists for all of these localities. The Jampeas are hatched. They're on the ground, and I don't have a waiting list long enough to take them all. So if you want Jampeas, email info@reptiles.com and get on the list. You can get pure Jampeas for the first time in a decade. You know, I've kept those kind of on the down low. Same thing with Selayers. Kayuadis. I have Kayuadis incubating now. Those are super dwarfs. They're like a big, colorful variety of super dwarfs. You can get in on that stuff right now. And that's why I'm saying, like, why bring in a gnarly, wild-caught, difficult to work with animal, especially because with super dwarfs, we typically don't see them removing babies from the wild. They're literally plucking breeders out of the wild population and doing that. James, I don't have like an available price list. For the past 5 years, one thing I haven't done with this business is post a single advertisement. And because I feel like a lot of people just, you know, shop those things back and forth, and I don't know, it seems like, let's see, the different pure localities. I did a video, you guys are fast. I did a video on pure Karompas. The other localities will come. I don't do the general available waiting list stuff because I feel like anybody else that's doing it, they kind of like say, okay, well, that's the label there. I'm going to commoditize this animal and be a little cheaper, or be a little different, or be a little that. And really also, these animals literally do not lend themselves well to labeling. I'll see if I can give you an example. I don't know if you can see her. Well, you're not going to be able to see her. It's really dark. But inside here, I have about a 13-foot female that is legitimate super dwarf albino. That's the label. She's 50% super dwarf albino. 13 feet. Not a small bloodline at all. And then over here, I have another super dwarf albino female that looks giant because she just ate. But this is the girl in the how to measure your retic video, and we found out she's 8.5 feet. She weighs about 3,500 grams. Both called super dwarf albinos. So if I gave you a list and you were trying to educate yourself on my animals somehow, not knowing the difference between this super dwarf albino and that super dwarf albino, you're going to end up with an animal that's not a right fit for you, and that doesn't end well for the snake. So I kind of refuse. I'll at least hold out as long as I can to ever make an availability list. And all you have to do is reach out to us across a number of different platforms. Let me know what you're looking for, size-wise, price range, all that kind of stuff, and then we can do that. Possible Canada export, talk to KB Reptiles. I'm working with those guys to make arrangements to where I can send a shipment of snakes pre-sold all to them. A lot of export people don't realize that me to ship you a snake, it's going to take me about 3 months and cost you about $1,500. So it's kind of ridiculous to ship one animal and export it that way. But if I can get 50 people in Canada to buy a snake, I can do one shipment. It'll take me 3 months. It'll cost $1,500, but it'll be split between those 50 people. And so it's really going to be pretty much the same thing. So yeah, I don't do the morph market thing. I think those are great. Yeah, I know corn snake's not even CITES. So, I think those things are great for people that like hatch a clutch of snakes and then they don't know what to do with them. But to be honest, the way I run my stuff is I try to let people know what's coming so that they're ready. And we try to place an animal, because our animals range in size from like 4 pounds to 40 pounds. And 40 pounds is still really small for a retic. You know what I mean? They can get upwards of 200 pounds realistically. So how often do I get them 7 to 12 feet? 7 feet is really, really small. That's like pure super dwarf, tiny locality male. 12 feet is almost the biggest snake I work with. The biggest ones I have are 13 feet. So basically, if you're looking for 7 to 12 feet, that's 90% of the animals that we have here, maybe 95%. So 25 pounds is a great size for like a female. And a lot of times the bigger, like kind of dwarf, super dwarf crosses, you know, the females that are like the 10, 11, 12 feet, those are the easiest animals to work with. I know they're bigger, but they are very hardy. They breed easier. They don't seem to have the issues with egg binding. So if you're first time getting into it, and remember 12 foot on a retic sounds really big, but you're looking at like 20, 25 pounds. So it's like a small dog, you know, they're really not that difficult to work with. The smaller stuff is not necessarily easier. Have I cut eggs? I cut eggs sometimes as a clutch is hatching. If there are eggs that haven't cut, I cut them. I'm not doing it right now. Shipped to Ham, Germany? No. I've been to Ham Show. I love the Ham Show. Right now, my availability, even not posting anything on classifieds and stuff, my availability is generally pretty well spoken for every season. So there's lots of room within these clutches for you guys to get on, but I kind of require a conversation first because I want to make sure. I mean, these guys are my babies. You know what I mean? Like, you see how geeked out and excited I get about these clutches. I don't want them to go to somebody who either is just finds them and they're price shopping and we happen to be the cheapest or have the prettiest snake, or maybe a lot of times people think they're ready for something but they're not. I mean, I work with these guys as a living, so a lot of times people are like, hey, listen, I need the smallest bloodline super dwarf, and I tell them how much that costs and what that looks like and everything. They're like, okay, that's kind of too small. Have we had a conversation? If you're on the list, we've had a conversation. If you're not on the list, we haven't. So conversation sounds like me asking you what it is that you're trying to get out of these animals, me making a recommendation out of my breedings, and then you buy them when they hatch. So a Selayer from Matt Metcalf. I don't know who Matt Metcalf is. But yeah, we have 2 clutches of Slayers, pure Slayers, unrelated, cooking now. But this is what I want to know. So I've been doing a lot of talking, rifling back and forth. You guys are ridiculously quick. Oh, by the way, Island of Misfit Morphs. Hi, Kim. That's Kimberly. She actually works for me, so she knows what's up. You can talk to her on those kinds of things. But what I want to know is I need to sit down here now that, like, I mean, there's a few other things that I want to do, like the 2 localities, obviously the Madus. I haven't produced those. That would be nice. That's another, check off the box for us. I would like to increase the quality as far as small size in these bloodlines, the health of the animals, genetic diversity, all these kinds of things are things we're working towards. But I want to ask you, because 5 years ago, super dwarves were not worth what they are now. And I sat down and I said, listen, I have this vision. Here is a snake that's the size of a ball python, but it's interactive. They hardly ever get sick. They always eat. They have all the same morphs. And if you could, like, for real deal, make super dwarves that stay small, like these little, that's an epic animal, that little purple albino super dwarf. But you have to realize it takes 6 generations to make a snake like this, And this animal is I think just as easy to keep as a ball python. But they're a more intense snake, you know what I mean? So if a ball python is like your cat, these are like a golden retriever, it's just a different experience. So what's up, Lee? So yeah, Lee knows what's up. We've had plenty of conversations, right? And I try not to do the pushy sales thing because it's not me having, hey, I have so many animals available, aka unsold. What's up, Steve? My thing is, like, I always want to know, every conversation I have with a customer starts with, well, what are you looking for? So I can't tell you how many text and messages a day. It's like, yo, what's your availability list? And it's like, I'm sorry, are you looking for turtles, iguanas? What are you, what are you looking for? Who are you? Why are you texting me? What are you trying to get out of this? And I don't know if you're a level-headed expert or I mean, quite frankly, you might be a moron if you're, all I see is a phone number saying, yo, what's up? How much you got? And I don't know if I want one of my babies to go to you or not, or, but I think most people that dedicate themselves are more than capable of keeping these kinds of animals. But a lot of times they don't understand what kind of animal they're after. Because just because someone says something's a super dwarf albino does not mean it's the right snake for you if you need an animal like that one that I just showed you. You could very easily end up with an animal that comes from even like maybe a reputable retic breeder, but someone that's not as experienced with, and the localities and stuff like that. You got to realize, like, 5 years ago, I started pushing. These were not as expensive as they are now. Now the market has gone up. There's a lot of attention in other circles, like carpet python people. We have, as soon as Tinley is over, I have my shipment of super dwarfs going over to Justin Kabilka, who, I'll do a little name dropping because I really respect the guy. I think he has done for ball pythons what everyone did with super dwarfs. When everyone said ball python market is dead, blah, 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 he went in there with some vision and dedication, and he's really made some incredible animals. And now he's got that wow, you guys still there? Okay. Thought I did my do not disturb. Somebody is calling me. Yeah, Kabilka has great taste. Well, I'll tell you what's funny, Wind Serpents, and I don't know if this is necessarily true about you. Kabilka has, the great thing about Justin is whatever his taste is exactly what everybody's taste is, because when Justin says something's cool, it becomes cool. That's the kind of guy he is. You know what I mean? And so he's taken things that other people thought were pointless and dumb and made amazing things out of them. And so, you know, he's got a great thing, but so I have mad respect for the guy. So I'm really proud to say that we'll be sending him some super dwarfs. And the funny thing was, I talked to him down in Arlington. He said he bought super dwarfs from somebody else before, and they just rapidly got very big. Hi, Jessica. What's up, cuz? And so he was disappointed, and he liked the idea of it, but he got out because he figured it's a fairy tale, you know. And then we, you know, we talked about it in Arlington and stuff. And so basically, we're going to we're going to hook him up some like real super dwarfs, and we'll see what he says. You know, he's an unbiased guy. He has nothing, you know, going in the super dwarf market, but I'm excited to watch my animals on his channel. I think that'd be cool. So, but what do you guys think for the next 5 years? What should I do? I'm pretty open at this point. Like, I mean, the breedings that I have, I've got a big established collection. I have tons of beautiful locality animals. I've got all kinds of cool morphs. I have so many directions I can go now because the foundation is built. What do you guys want me to build on the foundation? What would you like to see? What do you guys think? Kim is literally over there right now taking notes. Motley GCs. Everyone needs more tiny Motley GCs. That's funny. I didn't see it was you at first, Kim. But yes, I know everybody wants more Motley Golden Childs. And we're going to make them smaller and darker and blacker, and they all should be anery. Thoughts on Bob Clark? I had a great talk with Bob Clark down there too. The guy is basically the founder of the entire morph market. If you're asking me about him as a person, I get along with him great. I think he's human. He's not Satan. He's not Jesus. Neither am I. And everybody has good points and bad points. You can kind of read into that stuff what you will. But no, I get along great with Bob. You know, Super Dwarf Pied, that's a big one. You know, one reason why I haven't done that one yet is because I haven't found the right pied. So when you start a new recessive project, it takes about 10 years before you can see results where they're actually like small. And so what I don't want to do is take 10 years to make a super dwarf pie. Retics have snow or snow paradox. Yes, we have snows. That's kind of one of our specialties. We do lots of snows. These guys have bad lighting in here because I have yellow light bulbs, so they look crazy yellow. But normally an albino golden child is very, I think we could go outside. You guys want to see a snow golden child outside? See what they actually look like? They always look like banana yellow in here. You take them outside, you can kind of see them in a more realistic light. It's cold, so we'll go quick. Everybody ready? I'm going to show you what a snow looks like. So normally these are very orange, you know, like pumpkin orange. And in real life, they are kind of like, this sucks. He still looks yellow on my screen. I don't know how you guys see it. We do need more recessive genes in the super dwarf market. Like I said, 10 years at a time, 10 years at a time. So I don't know how well you can see that, but he's like all ghosted out. They're almost translucent and they have a very highlightery green color. But super dwarf A-mel, those exist. Actually, the A-mel lines came from directly from the Baldago stuff. All of them did, and they stayed pretty small. I have one over here. You don't see a super dwarf A-mel. I haven't produced super dwarf A-mels yet. Who bred the white diamond male? Excellent question. The white diamond male was bred by Prehistoric Pets. And back in the day, whenever I was working there, we had something called Jay's Trophy Picks. Anyone that's been around for a while might remember these, where we took truly exceptional animals, even if it was just like a normal or a corn snake or something. If it was the best corn snake ever, then we would call it a Jay's Trophy Pick. We would give it a name. We would put it on the website. The white diamond male is hands down the nicest looking snow that was ever produced. And he originally sold for $25,000. And I always liked him. So I got out of snakes for a while. I got back into them. And then I went and hunted him down and purchased him for me and started all my bloodlines out of him. These are Super Dwarf A males. That's another recessive. Hey, buddy, you're not eating though. But that's an A male and a head A male right there. I don't know if you can see the size on there, but they are pretty small. Blackheads are cool. Yeah, I actually freaking love blackheads, and if you're in Australia, you can get all kinds of cool stuff. But they don't have the diversity. What I like about the Super Dwarfs is so many different. There's multiple subspecies, multiple localities, tons of different morphs, and just endless possibilities. So anyway, the recessive thing, like with the pieds, I'm actually doing a whole breeding project with mainlands this year. Fingers crossed, I should be able to produce a platinum golden child tiger albino pied. And when I do that, I will start my Super Dwarf project. In the meantime, I have already produced, I just missed on the odds, this cute little lav pied boy right here. Actually, this was produced over at Justin Studney's house with an animal that was mine. It was like another kind of a partnership thing or whatever. So this guy might be the future of albino pied Super Dwarf stuff, but probably not. I think I'm going to try to get more genes in there because once you start down the, I know, isn't he cute? Once you start down the road of really truly breeding for small size, every generation you breed more away from the morphs. So you want to start with a genetically packed animal from the morph side so that's the only one that you have to breed. Consider like these phantoms, for example. We hatched these phantoms earlier this year, and they're outrageously high percentage Super Dwarf. This is a phantom, for those of you guys who are interested in asking about the cow project. This is a phantom that now contains only 12.5% mainland in it. Every other thing in this boy is Super Dwarf. And so we started with just a phantom. And the problem is if I want to, I can make 94% Super Dwarf phantoms with this guy or whatever if I grow him up and breed him to another pure. Hi, buddy. But, and then there's like so little mainland left in it that really the only thing left over is the morph. And that's kind of the goal of doing this kind of stuff. But the problem is if I ever wanted to make him a phantom tiger, for example, I got to go back and breed to a tiger, you know what I mean? Which is probably, I mean, they have tigers that high, but they're few and far between. And so I don't want to do that with a recessive gene because you can't breed back to it. So it'll take me a while. I just have to get the right one because I would rather, I don't care. When I worked at Prehistoric Pets, it seemed like every week I was cutting eggs that are world's first. And it was amazing. It's great. It's fun. It's cool because, you know, you imagine what something will look like. Yes, there are Super Dwarfs. The Super Dwarf stuff, really the males, like a nice small, if you want a really small Super Dwarf, they start around like $450. But you can get dwarf cross males and stuff like that as low as $250 from us. So it just depends on how small you really need them. So again, label is not everything. The bloodline is everything. Green Anery tiger. Someone want to see her? It's another white diamond animal. This is the fruits of me chasing down that crazy snow male. And she's getting pretty big too. So when she's grown up, it'll be fun. She's 100% het purple. Hopefully I'll have a snow mochino or something to breed her to someday. Make some crazy stuff like that. Yeah, she's a looker. Thanks, guys. Probably one of the prettiest snakes I've ever produced. And it's the culmination of working with that bloodline since 2008. So it takes a long time to make that kind of stuff. But again, Aiden's doing great. Thank you, guys. Follow him it's like the Rat God on Instagram if you want to see some stuff like that. Or check out our Instagram IGTV story. He actually uploaded the video. We do need to make mochinos. They're incubating. Hopefully they'll be dwarf, super dwarf mochinos. But again, I'm not as interested in making the world's first something. I only care about making the world's best something. So like this year, we might make a couple of super dwarf cows, and that's cool. But I'm not really focusing on producing enough of them to really sell to the public until I can shrink those things down so far, like that 87.5% super dwarf, you know what I mean? To where when I'm making super dwarf cows, They have like 12% mainland left in them, and they're the size of ball pythons, but they're cow retics, and that's what I want to do. So a lot of times people rush, and they'll do breedings. Like, for example, you want to make a super dwarf pied, and they'll breed a pied to like a 75% super dwarf, a high percentage, but not pure super dwarf. And they can make a little bit smaller snake, but you know those percentages come out lower than 50. And guess what? Even if I have, let's say I have a 49.9% super dwarf, industry standards say that you can't label that as a super dwarf. And I know that that's a little bit silly, but this is a dark anery. Aaron, you asked for it. Very dark, but yellow head at the same time. More of a green head. Hi, BB. Yeah, she's about 2 years old. This is Jampea. For those who like good-looking snakes, get some Jampeas. Just saying. So, you know, if you go by yourself, if you jump the gun and you're like, hey, guess what? I got a 37.5% super dwarf pied, and you call it a super dwarf pied. What you're going to find really quick is a bunch of internet know-it-alls that know it all because they've been watching my videos saying, well, 37.5% doesn't actually count as a super dwarf pied, you know. And if you think about it, if you do want to raise the percentage, it takes you 2 generations, which is the same to just make a super dwarf pied in the first place, you know. So high percentage single gene animals, that is definitely the key. And we're trying to actually do diverse ones. So like one of the clutches we have incubating right now, we bred a 75% super dwarf phantom, the dad of the 87.5%er, and we bred him to a 75% super dwarf anery sunfire super tiger. So we'll get tigers, sun tigers, phantom sun tigers, all 100% head anery, all really high percentage. Single gene, the way it breaks down like a tiger out of that, will actually be a really affordable animal from a pretty good bloodline, you know, as far as size goes. And then, you know, high percentage is really considered anything over 50. So, and again, labels aren't everything, but let's see, this whole clutch right here is all actually 62.5%. And this was from a motley tiger double het snow bred to an albino. So, you know, we've got everything in between. We've got tigers, motleys, motley tiger. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is not the albino one. That's the albino one. This is motley tiger double het snow bred to a platinum high percentage. So we got motley platy tigers, and like, look at some of these things are just freaking crazy. They haven't even shed yet, but that is a high percentage super dwarf platy tiger, posset snow. I mean, beautiful, beautiful animals. And the locality stuff on these things is amazing. One of my favorite snakes in this clutch is a motley female. You guys want to see it? Check this girl out. She's just wild looking. Look at that high percentage super dwarf motley. Look at the pattern. It looks like what you would think a marble motley looks like. I don't know, can you see it? It's like very, I guess, tribal looking, huh? Which is funny because that's kind of a locality motley. Just a motley female, posset snow, high percentage super dwarf. You know, I mean, she's not like cheap, like you can be like, oh, I got that much in my pocket for most people, but that's a very attainable snake. And when you get a high quality animal like that, they're not that expensive. That's why it's I mean, even when it's not me preaching about myself or whatever, I always tell people, like, if you're gonna go buy a snake, let's say you want to go buy a bull snake, you want to find the guy that is the nerdiest freaking geek about his bull snake, you know, because you know they're going to freak out so much when they find good stuff, and all of that enthusiasm is going to come out in their babies. Somebody wanted to see the baby Karompas. You're going to have to rewind to the beginning of the video, but there's one. Whoa. Here's one. These guys are all going to be part of what we're calling the Karompa project. So we're going to actually start, you know, making sure that we document bloodlines on all of these, so that people know that real Karompas are real Karompas. Because I have already seen, you know, when people see the value and demand for these animals, they start calling things that are not as they are to try to jump in on there. So, you know, you always see that stuff. Yeah, they do look like corn snakes. I actually have corn snakes in here that are like 4 or 5 months old that I think are a little bit bigger. Baby dwarf and super dwarf mixes. Here, you guys just want to see everything. I guess with Aiden gone and me being busy and stuff like that, we don't get to see everything, but there's a cute little platy motley. Look at the eyes on this one. Eyes are like black. You'd think it was head anthrax or something. Come here, buddy. Can we see your beautiful eyes? Look at those eyes. Look at that. What's up with you? So I guess what I gather from all of this, let's see if I can get one of the little albinos out. Cute little albinos. Here's a super dwarf albino. Now the goal of this one is a good example. Not all super dwarf albinos are the same, but this little guy, can't get good light on him, is a Kalatoa Kayuadi cross. And so the priority will not be ultimate small size on this breeding because the Kayuadis do get a little bit bigger, but they have an insane coloration. And very clean pattern. They're kind of Jampea-like. So you can see how much there. That's a little bit more natural lighting. Just the color intensity on these blows a simple Kalatoa out of the way. How much? I think the boys on these, Kim, you got to help me out here. Boys on the super dwarf albinos are something like 900. And then the females will be, I think, something like 1,200 or 1,300. So... and these are 50% posset snow too, which is cool. So if you're looking for not a ball python size snake, but a manageable retic with nice genetics, you might be able to make a snow that is just insane color. Yeah, the orange is what it's all about. That's why we use the Kayuadi blood to beef stuff up. So just another example of like, you know, you go back and forth. You make this one more colorful, and then the next generation, whether I kept this or you bought it and wanted to take the reins on that, is you cannot DNA test for pure locality at this point. You can probably DNA test for pure Jampeanus, but again, that's a whole region. You're talking about animals that range from like the teeny tiny little Karompas to Jampeas that can get 18 feet. You know, not that every Jampea gets 18 feet, but those ones can. You guys want to see a wild-caught Jampea? Nobody ever gets to see that. I don't show her off. Has the price come down over the years? The idea is I am driving prices down as hard as I can. I know the market is going up, which honestly is great. But what I'm trying to do, no, the Jamps are not more expensive than the Kalatoas. They're a very affordable locality. Pure Kayuadi, if you want pure locality, I have pure Kayuadi coming soon. They're going to be $2,500 a pair. So get on the list for that if you want pure super dwarf locality. I'm trying to bring the price on stuff like albino super dwarfs down because I want to make them the perfect snake for everybody. It just takes a long time to get them really small. And so that's really hard to do, and people are buying the tar out of them. So what I do is I make like the dwarfs or dwarf super dwarf crosses or bigger localities like that a little bit more expensive. Or a little bit cheaper. And even though they do get bigger, they tend to be a good beginner snake because they're simple to breed, they're easy to raise, and yes, they get bigger, but I mean, you can still feed it rats, not rabbits, and all that kind of stuff as an adult. Where is she at? Okay, this girl I don't show off a lot because she's wild caught, and you know, for all of those that wish we could still import, this is what you get when you import. You don't get an A-class quality captive bred animal like that. If it was up to me, and like I'm a breeder, like if anything, if you're going to import, you want to make sure those animals get in the hands of breeders who can actually make the animals better suited to captivity by captive breeding them, and then you can buy the captive bred babies. So if anyone wanted wild caughts, it should be me. But I actually really prefer to get like a F1, meaning like the parents were wild caught, like the Jamps that we just hatched. The dad was wild caught, the mom was a beautifully captive bred Jampea, because you get all the genetic diversity that you need there, and then you also get a captive bred animal that's not known anything. When you get a wild caught animal, you get a girl like this, and as soon as I open her tub, you could just tell she's like, this is why I don't show her off a lot. It stresses her out. She's stressed. She's defensive. I used to try to keep her in a big, beautiful enclosure, and it just freaked her out. But look at her face. See how she's all pushed, and she deals with chronic blockages and stuff like that. That's all things that happened to her before she even got to the United States. So the importation process is not nice on wild-caught adult animals. And unfortunately, if I was able to, that's a tiny little Jamp, right? I mean, you don't expect to see them that small. But if I was able to, I would take her back out and drop her in the world, in the wild. I think that would be great, Europe is a great thing, but they actually, it would be cool to be able to swap captive bred babies with them, and I really wish the laws would open up in that way. Do I ship to Florida? If you have permits in Florida, I'll ship you one because it's legal for you. If you are trying to keep my babies illegally, I will not ship to you because that won't end well for my babies or for you if you ever get found out. But yes, I do ship to Florida as long as I'll ship anywhere as long as the permits are in place and it's legal. So give me copies of your permits. I'll shoot them over. Yeah, I would rather toss that girl back in the wild than make him in captivity, to be perfectly honest with you. But as long as she's here and she was sitting in someone else's collection and, you know, she had a little bit of a respiratory infection, the guy was overwhelmed with her because he got her because she was small, and I realized small doesn't mean easy. You know, she's terrible biting and musking everywhere and all that kind of stuff. And my focus is just to give her, I'm trying to condition her to the point where I could get her up to maybe a little bit nicer cage like this. And we have some more naturalistic style stuff coming, but still has the shelves and the climbing and the hides, like these Kalatoas that are pretty comfortable now after being in captivity for 5 years. I'd like to just let her live the rest of her life out there. And, you know, like breeding is natural too. If I can get one clutch out of her over the course of her life, that would be great for the state of captive bred genetics. But it's not really about, thank you. It's not really about, you know, yanking expensive animals from the wild and making them as pets. You know, the point of all this kind of stuff is to basically domesticate an animal or create the perfect animal. So, how do we do this? That's the whole point of this video, guys, is like, what is the perfect animal? What's the perfect pet for you? Because I have a pretty good base with a lot of genetics. There's some more for whoever's talking about more recessive genes. Superdorf anthrax stuff, Superdorf titanium stuff. We've already got, you saw the phantom. Here is the Superdorf orange ghost stripe. Whoever asked, how do I take care of so many cages? I do it with great difficulty because my employee beat himself up. We got a Superdorf orange ghost stripe here. That's a new recessive gene. He was from the first clutch, just hatched last year. The size of the black enclosures, those are 7 feet by 3 feet by 2 feet. Yeah, Superdorf anthrax. That stuff is on the way. We have hets. You know, it's going to take a while to raise them and make visuals, and then we want to take those visuals and put them back to Superdorf, make hets again, raise them, make visuals. That's how we get smaller. So we have that. We now have Indo-Caramel in them with the Jamp double het Indo-Caramel aneries. So we should see orange glows and orange glow snows very soon. And then we're putting stuff into other localities. Like this is a Selayer purple tiger, which is kind of cool to get albino Selayers. Now, Selayer is a pretty big dwarf locality, so I'm not really breeding those just because I have the ability to make a bunch of these. I don't really want to. I want to make one of them for myself, this male, and then I want to breed him back to some, you know, pure or high percentage Selayer stuff so that we can perfect the bloodline, add tons of locality stuff. And then when I feel that the animal is ready for the market, you know, because like I said, just because I can hurry up and make, let's say, a Superdorf pied, if I don't do it well, it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. The perfect Superdorf is smaller than 6 feet. Okay, here's the thing about a 6-foot snake that most people don't realize. There's really not a 6-foot snake. When people say, oh yeah, it's 5 feet. I mean, a snake might breed at 5 feet or whatever, but you got to realize, like, okay, so the smallest locality in general or bloodline is going to be the Karompa. And you saw how teeny tiny those babies are, right? And here is Dad hiding out in here. Hey, buddy. Wild-caught Karompa male. And you can see how tiny he is. I can almost cover him with my hand, right? Now, I haven't measured this guy, but I think he's probably 6 feet or maybe a little bit over 6 feet. So to expect to get an albino or any morph in this size, maybe it'll happen someday, but I don't know that it'll even happen in my lifetime. There might be like outliers, but the problem here is that I'm selling babies and I have to estimate how big these things are going to get as adults. So if someone says, hey, can you sell me a snake that won't outgrow 6 feet? In this entire collection, and I mean, gosh, I probably have 40 pure super dwarfs. Well, it's a wish, not realistic. I mean, you can get really close. If you're like, I don't know if you have some law that they can't get over 6 feet or something, it might be a problem. But if you need a 6.5 foot retic, I could probably sell you one that's going to stay around 6.5 feet. But I'm not going to tell you I can guarantee any bloodline will stay under 6 feet, because if you hiccup at the animal or you overfeed it a little bit or something, it's going to be over 6 feet. So that's a really, really small size. But what people need to realize is, like, this is a comment I get all the time. They say, hey, I only keep ball pythons. I want to step up to retics, so I really only want the Demeyer line. Oh yeah, I can show you him. They say, I really only want something that's like 6 or 7 feet. I want to step up in size from a ball python to a retic of 6 or 7 feet. What they're not realizing is that a 6 or 7 foot retic is still quite a bit smaller than your average ball python. I mean, that male that's probably 6.5 feet, he weighs 1,300 grams. You know, do I plan on having pure Karompas this year? I already hatched one clutch. I have another clutch incubating. They're the first time they've ever been done. So yes. Yeah, 6 to 7 feet is a big rat snake. So, you know, like, I think if you ask people, like, is a corn snake a small snake? They say yes. You know, corn snake gets what, 4 or 5 feet, something like that. It's a small snake. Then you say, is ball python, what size is that? They say, well, that's a medium-sized snake. Well, I mean, it gets 4 or 5 feet. It's a ball python. How's that a medium-sized snake? That's the same size as a corn snake, right? No, they're not, because they're built totally different. These are built like corn snakes. So a big corn snake will get 6 feet. You know what I mean? A small retic can stay 6 feet. And let's remember, we're talking about reticulated pythons, the longest snake on the planet. So to have a 6 foot retic exist in nature, I think is a miracle. I mean, and it's much smaller than a ball python. So just for your guys' own information, if you're calling me and you want an animal that's about the size of a ball python, say that. But expect it to be like, this girl is 8 or 9 feet and she's about the size of a ball python. I mean, see, when I grab, this is around her food belly, actually. Should grab her somewhere that's accurate girth. I can almost make that A-OK sign. My fingers are about that far apart around her girth. She's 8 or 9 feet and she's about 3,500 grams. I think if you get a ball python, you should expect them to get 3,500 grams. So, you know, ball python size are 8 or 9 feet is the same size in a retic. If you want a boa size snake, you know, a lot of times the red tail boas are like, you know, upwards of 8 to, let's say, 11 feet or something. To get a same size snake as a boa constrictor, you're going to be looking at 11 or 12 feet in a retic, maybe even 13. I'm sorry, I missed the last couple of questions there. 11-foot boa is rare. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's on the outside, but I think that if you do get a boa, you should be prepared to have maybe an 11-foot snake. If you're like, no, that'll never happen, and you're surprised, you're in trouble. Yeah, this is it, guys. So I just want to thank you for your input on this kind of stuff. What I'm actually going to do is go sit down and start planning my chess moves to come here and get the 1-2 punch, because I think what we hear, yeah, they can definitely push 11 feet. I've seen a 12-foot boa. I think what we're going to try to do is, I mean, unfortunately, it's going to be the hard road. It's not the easy road. Everything that you guys are asking for are difficult stuff. So, like, more recessive genes in super dwarfs. That's a 10-year project to start. And it's something that, fortunately, we started many years ago. But you got to realize, before I'm ready to, like, slap a super dwarf label on something, it's probably like 10 years of development before I can send something out that I'm proud of, how small and how awesome the size is on something like an anthrax or a pied. I'm not going to just hurry up and slap on it. You know what I mean? 10 to 12 foot retic is a good size for a lot of big snake people. It's big but not overwhelming. But, you know, what I would like to do, the cool thing about these guys is that the smaller they are, just the easier they are to take care of. You know, the better they're probably going to be cared for, and the more likely they are to have long, fruitful lives in captivity. Because when animals outgrow people's expectations of them, that's when they really start to have problems. Book. I hear you. I need a ghost author. I'll talk and go that. Locality known on the het anthrax SDs. The Superdorf het anthrax stuff was actually produced by JT Tomlinson. And so he had Oh gosh, she had a couple of breedings. I would have to check my records to see which ones are which, but there were Kalatoa and Karompa stuff. So yeah, you like that? Here, a little parting shot for you guys. There it is. Create the ultimate Dwarf and SD where it's a mix of all localities. Well, guess what? That phantom I showed you that's 87.5%, that was made from breeding a phantom to a Kalatoa, and then we bred it to a Madu, and then, well, Andrew did those 2 generations, and then Andrew and I bred it to a Kayuadi, so that's 3. And the next one I'd like to breed it to is, I would never give up a Karompa female to breed it 4 generations into, you know, such a rare locality animal as a Karompa. But fortunately for me, somebody else already made Karompa Kalatoa crosses, and I have an adult female. And so the 4th generation, I'd like to breed her to that, because then it will literally be all 4 of the localities that you could consider a super dwarf in one animal. I mean, what perfect genetic diversity, and by breeding the females year after year, you just get the perfect thing. So this girl is actually gravid right now. This is an animal that was produced by Rick O'Neill. And that's a Karompa Kalatoa cross. You can see she has a lot of those Karompa traits, just not quite as extreme as the Karompas. But look at the size of her, guys. She's so tiny. And she's literally like this right here. She hasn't eaten in months. But this thickness you see right there, that's eggs. So pretty cool, pretty cool. So anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go the long, hard road. We're going to make high percentage, incomplete dominant stuff and continue pushing, like the platy, motley, tiger stuff that you saw, 62%. We'll take those and we'll go higher with those, continue to refine those. We'll work on, let's see, which is locality is the calmest. I don't think it's fair to be racist. They're all races and they're all individuals. The calmest one is the one that you're going to work with from birth. A lot of them have different reputations for this, that, or the other. And there's certainly like trends between them or whatever, but I'll tell you what, the most rewarding animal is the one that you sit down and you spend time with. Like Slayers, for example, have a reputation for musking on people and being horrible and stuff like that. And my male Slayer came from a guy that just wanted it as a pet. He bought a pure Slayer, and it was horrible to him in the beginning, but he stuck with him. And he worked with them every day, and now it's like probably one of the most trustworthy, calmest snakes in my collection. And it's an adult male Slayer, which they have a very bad reputation, but the animal is wonderful. So, the calmest retic is going to be the one that you pay my daughter Riley $10 to handle every day from the day it was born. I will be at Tinley Park in March and October, so yes. So here's the thing that you guys need to realize based on your guys' feedback, and it's not really a big shocker. A lot of that stuff are things that I've been working towards, and we'll just continue to push it. What you need to realize is if you want these supreme small bloodline animals, they're going to cost more. So, for example, I just showed you those super dwarf albinos. They're bigger, $50 to ship to Canada. Thanks. But those super dwarf albinos that I showed you that are $1,100, those are going to get somewhere 10 to 12 foot as a female. So those are big boa size ones. They're $1,100. Now we just hatched a clutch from that tiny female I showed you. Her siblings just hatched. We have some albinos in there. This is the 4th year breeding that pair, and shipping is free over $500. Easy one. If you pay $500 with me, you're getting free shipping and some swag and stuff too. So a female from that clutch is going to be $4,500. And it's because I can breed one 12-foot albino one time. Not free to Canada, sorry. You got to talk to KB Reptiles and bug them and say, we want reach out reptiles animals. Go hit them up and tell them I sent you. And then, $50 inside the U.S. But like I said, most of the animals we sell are over $500. There are plenty of cheap ones, that are the $250 to $500, and you'll pay $50 shipping on that. But I'll take the rest. The small stuff, it takes, like in the last 4 years of breeding, those were done by a buddy of mine, Richard Bilbo. You guys might know him. In 4 years of breeding, I think he's produced 3 albino females, or 4. breeding het to het 4 years in a row to make them that ridiculously small. I know, repaint the truck, right? I'm just gonna put brown leather interior. How about that? So we're gonna maintain the vintage logo too. That's the OG. So we'll just have the OG truck with the OG logo. Anyway, because it takes 6 generations to even get there, and then raise that girl up for 5 years, and then breed them 4 years in a row to make 3 or 4 of them. If you really want the tiny recessive animals, you gotta pay me $4,500 to get it. If you just want a very reasonably sized retic that's gorgeous, like those Kayuadi Kalatoa albinos that I pulled out earlier, females, you're looking at $1,100. I think it's $1,300 for a tiger or something. Don't quote me on that. Ask Kimberly. She's got those numbers. Really trying to delegate a lot of the stuff like the animal care. For example, if I'm doing a video like this, I don't want it to distract me from all the cleaning and maintenance that I need to do over there. So we're trying to bring a few more people on to make sure the animals are being well cared for. Kimberly, if any of you guys have talked to her, is fantastic in customer service to make sure you guys are being well cared for. And that'll allow me to just continue to try and invent and learn. And we've got a couple of cool fun projects. There's another incubation one. I don't know why I'm such a geek about that, but I like trying new things with incubation. So I'm trying a new system that should be pretty cool. So maybe that clutch that just got laid in there would be great. If you want me to ship to Canada, go to KB Reptiles. But yeah, so anyways, that's the deal with us. Thank you guys for an amazing 5 years. I still think it's crazy every day that I quit my job and just get to hang with you guys and those guys in there. And yeah, it's a really good life. It's really cool. And I think I've learned a few tips and tricks along the way to really be able to do it well. And for those of you that want just waiting list to pick an animal off, I really think that it would be a shame to do that anyways, when I'm more than willing to share any secrets to success that I have with you guys so that you guys can enjoy what I have too. That's one of the cool things about breeding super dwarves is, with other species, you always hear, oh, it's a terrible, so many people are breeding these now. And the point that we're at right now, it's like I'm begging more people to start breeding these, so because they are such amazing animals, and I see them slowly taking people's hearts over and stuff like that. But why snakes? I love snakes. You really want to know why I got into snakes? My mom was allergic to everything with fur and feathers, so I had fish and reptiles. And I loved fish, but they were too high maintenance. I got into lizards, but they're too scratchy. And I love the lizards and stuff, but you got to feed them all the time, and they're really scratchy. And the snakes are super happy just being chill, left on their own. And, there's also something cool about sitting up close with an animal and staring into its eyes and having some kind of a personal connection that that 99% of the world will never experience. And not because they can't, just because of choice. So it's kind of cool to be a little bit different sometimes. Maternal incubation is a goal just for my females. I want my females to be able to experience that. That's not the experiment I'm talking about. It's a new experiment with artificial incubation. So retics aren't scratchy. Retic tooth. Yeah, that's true. They're pretty scratchy. I've had a few over-exuberant males go and put some pretty good scratch marks with their spurs on female visitors too. So boy, those guys they'll breed anything on no or 2 legs. But have not been able to get any responses through email for 3 weeks. That is terrible. Please email info@reachoutreptiles.com. Make sure that it's going there. Just copy your email and send it, and do it right now, and we'll get that answered for you. I'm not sure why. Just make sure it's info@reachoutreptiles with an S.com. So we are actually talking about getting this shipment to Canada done. The target is 4 to 5 months from now. So tell your friends, have them bother KB Reptiles, because I need them to do their part. I'll make the awesome snakes, and then you guys will be able to buy them, and they'll be the same price as they are for U.S. customers, with just a little bit, on shipping. It'll just be the divided cost among the people. So I'm hoping it ends up being like you know, 25 bucks or something like that for shipping. So get ready, get ready. Make sure you're on a waiting list for the animal that you want to. But hey, I love you guys very much. For those of you guys that are going to be at Tinley in a couple weeks, I can't wait to see you. Thank you guys for being with me. We will definitely take into consideration everything that you guys did, and I'll put a little creativity sauce on there and see what I can't come up with next for this dwarf and super dwarf thing. Thank you guys for just letting me be me, and thank you for you guys being you. I appreciate you guys. Have an awesome weekend, and we will catch you next time.